That was Taylor Swift. It's me, Michael, and you wouldn't guess it, but it is my first anniversary show this morning. Welcome. Thank you for joining me on Saturday Soundtrack. It's going to be a fantastic show today. Thank you to Paul for the last couple of hours. We've got Kirsten with us this morning. Morning, Kirsten.
Morning, Michael, and happy anniversary.
Thank you. I'm all of a dither. I'm not showing you my best light, but we'll get back on it. But yes, welcome to my show. Thank you to Paul for the last couple of hours. For the next 2 hours, I'm going to be chatting with Kirsten all about her role here as Chief Executive at Sheffield Teaching Hospital. So whether you are a patient on one of our wards, whether you're a member of staff working this weekend, or maybe it's your weekend off, thank you for joining me. We've got some great tracks. Kirsten has picked them, but as always, there's an opportunity for you to pick the songs today, and you can do that by emailing me on studio@sheffieldhospitalradio.co.uk or on WhatsApp 07900 339 429. We've already kicked off on the first song because we've got so much to get in this time. It's Southern Nights, it's Glenn Campbell, and it's from Tony, who's a patient over at the Northern General. He gave that request to our fantastic volunteers that went out and about. So let's have a bit of Glenn Campbell and then we'll crack on talking to Kirsten. Southern Nights there, Glenn Campbell, and that was for Tony, a patient over at the Northern General. Yes, it's me, Michael. It's my Saturday Soundtrack. Thank you for joining in this morning, listening in on Sheffield Hospital Radio. And every week throughout this past year, I've had a different guest. Most weeks across the shows, but this week I'm really pleased. Thank you, Kirsten, for joining me on my anniversary show, and you've brought in a fantastic cake for me this morning.
I have indeed, yes. You're not letting me light the candle in case I burn the place down, but yeah, happy anniversary, and yeah, a really impressive, humbling thing to take on in the last year, to acquire a new set of skills. I know you're younger than me, but at our age is a very brave thing to do, so well done and happy anniversary.
No, I appreciate that. There's a fantastic band of volunteers broadcasting. Sheffield Hospital Radio is out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I think it is a great opportunity for our patients and our staff to connect in, and there are about 12 or 13 live shows across the week, so it is. But yeah, it's a set of skills. I'm not sure I'm unconsciously competent yet, as I showed at that beginning, but we'll get there today. But no, it is it's a really great time, and it is a fantastic opportunity for our staff. We've had some great staff over the year. Balbia, the Performance and Information Director, Hematology team, our Pharmacy team, A&E have been here, and then Mahmood, who's one who I converted him to one of our key listeners now as chair as well, coming and talking about all the work that he does around blood and transplant. So it is a fantastic opportunity for people to listen in. So thank you, and you've come today, and I'm going to do the show slightly different because when I ask guests to come on, I ask them to pick some songs, but not only have you picked the songs, you've kind of curated it, I think, and I'm expecting it to be a kind of a story of your life. Would that be fair?
There's definitely a song associated with particular chapters, but yeah, trust me to overthink it and get a spreadsheet out.
And how did you find that? What was that process of picking the songs? Was it easy?
Oh no, it was a complete nightmare.
Really?
Yeah,
As in you had a long list or a short list?
Yeah, no, a long list of about 30 or 40 songs. And yeah, trying to tone that down, and one of my kind of selection criterion was about how what is it about this? What does it say about a kind of chapter in my life? And that kind of sorted some out that were separate from just this song's amazing. So hopefully there is a little bit of a story to go with each one.
Brilliant. Well, should we start with the first one? So the first song you've picked is the Dave Brubeck Quartet, Take 5, which when I kind of give the name, I didn't recognise the title of the song, but when I played it, I did. So tell us about what's the memory behind this, and I think probably about the music in your house growing up.
Yep. So yeah, Take 5 by Dave Brubeck, as you say, probably lots of people will recognise it's been used in very, very many adverts over the years. Was first released in 1959, which I didn't actually realise until I'd been kind of pulling the list together, but that was the year my mum and dad got married, which is particularly appropriate because the reason I picked this is I have really strong memories as a kid playing this album. And it was a vinyl, and my mum and dad loved jazz and introduced me to to jazz, and that was a love of jazz was sparked for them when they lived and worked for a couple of years in Central and South America. But I've got really clear memories of our 2-bedroom tenement flat in Leith in Edinburgh, and putting this on the enormous record player that used to sit in the hall because there's nowhere else it would fit. It was about the size of a chest of drawers, and we often used to have a little half pence piece. Again, I'm showing my age because people probably don't remember half p's, but used to put that on the stylus arm to stop the needle jumping, particularly if we were dancing in the hallway, which was not uncommon. So yeah, this song is absolutely about getting a taste for music, is about my mum and dad, is about their travels to South America, which I definitely think gave me a taste for travel as well, because right up until the day both of them died, they would still always be telling me the same stories about South America and how much they loved it. So yeah, Take 5 by Dave Brubeck is a really stalwart song in my playlist.
And is it South American jazz? I have to admit, I'm not a jazz, so it's kind of, it's not got that South American, right? Yeah. And jazz is a young child, that's quite an unusual music to get into. Do you think that was heavily influenced by them, or was there something in it that pulled you in?
I mean, I suppose it's that amazing thing about kind of how much music has changed in our, you know, when I was wee, you know, there might have been 50 albums in the house, but they were all your mum and dad's, and then perhaps as a sibling got older and they got one or two, but there was kind of a sort of house collection of music. The idea that people had these really individualised sets of tastes and playlists and headphones. I mean, if you put a record on, the whole house heard it. So you either kind of got with the programme or had a pretty miserable time. So yeah, I think it was either that or nothing. So.
And would you still play this now? Is it the kind of music you'd go to now and take you straight back to that?
Yeah,
house
absolutely.
Brilliant. Okay, well, let's give it. So Dave Brubeck Quartet and Take 5. That was a nice start to a Saturday morning. That's
good.
Would you put that on kind of when you're chilling out? Would it working in the background or any particular time?
Yeah, it's definitely a chill song, isn't it? And an easy Sunday morning, perhaps after a late night football match. But yeah, it's definitely a chill song. It's great.
So you're clearly a professional at this because you're leading us into this next song then. So I know you're excited tonight, and have you planned your sleep structure around tonight's Scotland game in the World Cup?
Yeah, so I think I might try and go to bed about 9 o'clock, maybe get up about 1:30, and then watch the game and see how that goes. But I might just be too excited to go to sleep.
And so that's hinting at, so this next song, and we'll probably kind of not reveal it straight away, but it's clearly a football related song. And you are, would you describe yourself as a big football fan?
I'm definitely an invested football. Every Saturday, if I wasn't here, there's a programme on Scottish radio called Off the Ball, and I listen to that religiously every Saturday and indeed Sunday, and yeah, definitely follow my team and obviously the Scotland national team as well.
And so tell us your team, because that'll give us a hint towards this song.
So I'm a Hibs fan, which is obviously the best team in Edinburgh, and really closely associated with Leith, which is where their ground is. Their ground's at Easter Road, and I was brought up in Leith and have got kind of long family connections and roots in Leith, so there was no other team I could support. And
do you remember your first game?
Yeah, yes, I remember more about walking to it. So I remember walking up Leith Walk with my dad and my uncle. I think I must have been about 6 or 7. I'm not sure I'd really expressed a huge amount of interest in going to the game, but I think my mum was perhaps doing something else that day, and my dad got childcare, so his really fantastic idea for childcare was just to take me to the football with him.
And is that because he always went, or he
No,
decided
he didn't always
to
go.
Right.
Would go sporadically, but yeah, clearly thought that was a way to entertain a 6-year-old for the afternoon. So I've got a really clear memory of walking out and being quite anxious about what on earth is this like, and kind of particularly as you got closer to the ground, the kind of growing size of the crowd, and particularly then very male dominated. So I remember feeling quite anxious, and then just the weirdness of being in the stadium and that size of crowd, and the smell of pies and lots of smoking at that time, because you could still smoke in football stadium at that point.
Yeah.
So
That's my memory from my first game of going with my dad, because no one in my house smokes. It was that, and I have to kind of probably clearly smoking is bad for you, but it was that nice smell of in the air, not really concentrated.
Yeah, it's really
absolutely.
different when it's outside, isn't it? It's not. Really clear memories of doing that.
And then, did you want to go back? Was it kind of instantly back? Was it then over time? How big a fan did you become?
Yeah, not particularly big. It was pretty sporadic, but yeah. Often enough, and then always, remember on a Saturday, local newspapers used to publish a thing called the News Pink. I think it happened in every city, maybe not. So that when you came out of a game, there was a really rapid.
We had the green in.
Okay, a single sheet of paper with the results from the other games, and indeed the horse racing for that day, so that you could go to the bookies and collect any winnings that you might have had. Yeah. But yeah, always remember that really clear thing on a Saturday afternoon, the kind of young lads that were selling the sports pink.
I remember that, and it just shows you a different time, doesn't it? So my dad, I'm a Sheffield United fan, but my dad took me to Sheffield Wednesday.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and then I had a friend who was a United fan, and my dad supports, and similar to me, I'll always kind of support Wednesday. I want them to do well, but yeah, I'd say
I
Sheffield
don't have
United.
that view of heart.
I was going to come on
not.
and ask about that. But I remember at half time, along the hoardings, the kind of advertised boards down the bottom, there was letters, kind of A, B, C, D, and in the programme it told you A was which game, and at half time they came out with wooden boards with numbers on, so they tell you that A was 2-1 to the home team, and because you didn't,
I didn't remember that at all.
because you obviously didn't have your phone to check what the latest score
and then
was.
there'd be those guys with the wee tiny radios shouting the scores out to the rest of the crowd.
It was kind of a different time. So big Hib fan. So what about that rivalry? Is it big around kind of Edinburgh?
Absolutely.
Really?
I saw a set of Vox Pops that were going around social media recently, where Hearts got incredibly close to winning the Scottish Premiership this year, and somebody did a set of Vox Pops with Hibs fans at Easter Road and said, if one thing had to happen, which would you choose? Either Hearts win the league or England win the World Cup? And several people went, oh, God, that's difficult. Yeah, England to win the World Cup. Yeah, which...
See, because I wanted Hearts to win, just in that it wasn't kind of Glasgow.
Yeah, I mean, the Old Firm are totally nauseating in terms of what they do to the game, the amount of money they have, the extent to which they kind of just scoop up talented players from the rest of the league who've kind of invested in them. And so at a kind of logical level, I completely get it would have been really good for Hearts to win, and I think it was really good that they did shake up the league quite so much this year, but it just couldn't have coped with them winning. The bragging rights would just have been horrific.
And have you got friends that are Hearts fans?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, couldn't have coped with that.
And so this song then, so obviously kind of Hib song, so it's Sunshine on Leith, the Proclaimers. So
Yep.
do you know what's the history? How did this get associated with the club? Why are the two so entwined for you and for the fans?
Yeah, so I think it's happen chance, I think. So, and it's relatively recent. I mean, this song only came out in 1988. The Proclaimers are massive Hibs fans, despite being from Fife rather than Edinburgh themselves. It just happened by happen chance that the fans started to sing it. It is an extraordinary song, and it is a love song from fans to the team, which it just captures, particularly a team that you kind of need to stick with through the good and the bad. It's absolutely captures the good times as well as the bad, and it is. It's the 10th anniversary just last month of Hibs winning the Scottish Cup after over 100 years of not winning it, and I've got really fond memories of watching that game actually in a pub in Sheffield, because my cousin came down to stay with me because he was going to download, and so we went to the pub and watched it together, and there was me and my cousin from Brora, which is really, really in the far northeast of Scotland, the two of us and 3 Rangers fans watching it, and Hibs won 3-2 with a stoppage goal from David Gray, who's now affectionately known as Sir David Gray and is Hibs manager. So yeah, it's
fantastic.
Best football song in the world.
Okay, well here we go then. So the Proclaimers, Sunshine on Leith. So welcome back, it's me Michael, it's my Saturday soundtrack. Thank you for listening in on Sheffield Hospital Radio. You join me for my 1-year anniversary show with Kirsten, our Chief Exec at Sheffield Teaching Hospitals. Welcome back, Kirsten.
Hi there.
And we had Life on Mars there, so if you've just joined us, Kirsten's been soundtracking the songs for this morning, and Life on Mars, I noticed you knew every single word of that one there, sing along. So why is that one? Clearly that must mean so much to you. Why David Bowie, Life on Mars? Why is that in your soundtrack?
So there had to be a Bowie track. I'm an absolutely massive Bowie fan. There aren't many Bowie tunes you could play that I wouldn't sing along to every word. So it was, I'd said earlier, it was really hard to choose the songs. This was one of the hardest ones to choose. But this is from the first Bowie album I ever had, which was Hunky Dory. Bought for me by my big sister for my birthday, I think when I was 12. I had a Sony Walkman, which you put tapes into, and they used about 4 Duracell batteries every couple of hours. But I remember really, really clearly walking around Edinburgh listening to Hunky Dory until I think I wore the tape out. Really? So that's why it's Life on Mars. And
kind of David Bowie, and it is kind of, as you were singing it, when I'd kind of prepped it, the lyrics in it are somewhat surreal.
They are very surreal.
And do you like music like that? That often, does it? I'm going to come on to a song next that tells a very serious and important story, but that kind of cacophony, chaos, what's that like as lyrics in a song for you?
I think the amazing thing about getting old is actually how you kind of read different things into different bits of lyrics. So when I first listened to that as a wee girl, I was really focused on the first couple of lyrics, which are about our mummy's begging her not to go and her dad's told her to get out. So that was about an obstreperous teenager. I wonder why I took that story from it. But then clearly the whole thing about there's civil unrest in that song. There's the kind of tragedy of a film that you've seen before, and why are you still keeping doing the same things? So yeah, I think they are the songs that endure with you.
And this next song is, as we kind of alluded to, a potentially difficult song to hear, the message within it. So it's Nina Simone's version of Strange Fruit. So tell us a bit about, for those that don't know, the background to the song here.
Yeah, so this is based on this was first recorded in 1939 by Billie Holiday and then released again by Nina Simone in 65. I think Nina Simone's version's the best, but both are based on a poem that was about a lynching of 2 men in the Deep South in Mississippi by the Ku Klux Klan, and the 2 men hanging in the trees having been killed and burnt moment are the strange fruit that is the subject of the song, and just the contrast of the content of this song. So the scent of magnolia is one of the lines, the pastoral scene, the poplar trees, and then the horror of actually what's seen is being described is extraordinary. And Nina Simone is such a talented pianist and indeed singer, and the simmering fury that comes across in her rendition of this song, I think, is extraordinary.
And clearly extraordinary times to be playing a song like this. And we had a few weeks back, I mentioned earlier, Balbir Bogal, our Performance and Information Director and chair of our EDI committee. I couldn't get it right as that on the day, but clearly very important. We talk a lot within STH about our workforce mirroring our patients and populations. Why is a song like this, and it's like kind of so important? What's your role in these difficult times for you as a leader?
So they are really difficult times, but it is phenomenally important that, because otherwise it's just a waste of talent and energy if we don't have every member of staff coming to work and being able to bring them whole selves, not be anxious and scared about not fitting in, but actually if they're not worried about those things, they will be much better providers of healthcare. And then also for our patients, so consuming healthcare is really rubbish. People are really, really frightened when they come to consume healthcare. If they're also layering on a set of worries about how they might be judged or what questions they might be asked, then again, that just makes our healthcare less effective. So if we don't get equality, diversity and inclusion right, we won't get the best out of our people and we won't provide the best healthcare. So it's unbelievably fundamental to all that we do. And I think what's incredibly powerful about Strange Fruit is that it is within living memory that we did have kind of apartheid regimes around the world. It's staggering to think that was the case, and we need to remember how badly wrong this can go if we don't stand up for the fundamental rights of individuals to be themselves.
No, very important. And so absolutely kind of encourage listeners, absolutely listen to the lyrics within this track. Nina Simone, Strange Fruit. Nina Simone, Strange Fruit, choice of Kirsten Major, our Chief Executive. So a bit of a shift of tone now to our next song. So this next song, so it's the Waterboys, and a bang on the ear, feels a bit more human and warm, if that's it. And as I understand it, a bit of a song about people that come into your life and stay in different ways. So kind of before we get into the song, STH, almost 20,000 staff. What's your kind of experiences? How long have you been at STH now?
So I joined in 2011 as Director of Planning, then I became Deputy Chief Exec at some point, and was Interim Chief Exec in 2018 and then Substantive Chief Exec since 2019. And
so in that role, staff must come in and out of your life and your inbox and your diary and calendar kind of throughout the day. So give us a flavour this past couple of weeks. We often talk about our proud standards, about patient focus, respect. Gosh, I knew I'd forget one because I was saying them had ownership, unity and delivery. I was planning for that. Oh gosh, I put myself under pressure.
Nicely set me up to show the chief exec knew them though, so well done.
But kind of what have you seen any... You've, I presume, been out and about in the organisation this last couple of weeks. Any kind of snippets of stories of where you've seen Proud in action over the last few weeks?
I think I was on, I went to visit the theatre admissions unit at the Hallamshire, and what was really lovely was them kind of describing their role in terms of getting people in the building and prepping them for surgery and kind of calming them down and making sure they're all right. But one of the things they were really proud of is the extent to which actually the way people come into the Hallamshire, they are very often the first open door that people come across, and they were really proud of their their role in terms of being a first point of contact for people who are lost and bewildered and don't know where to go and they're worried they're running late and all of those things. That whole we want to be kind and look after you, not just kind of give you a diagnosis and make you better, but actually showing that kindness and care for every interaction, really mattering to people, was really, really impressive.
And kind of, I wouldn't have thought it was something like that is clearly so important, that's so human. Yeah. And so this song then, so the Waterboys and A Bang on the Ear, introduce this song for us, Kirsten.
So perhaps, first of all, just to be really clear, that a bang on the ear is kind of an act of affection. So it's not actually thudding you on the ear. It's that kind of really quick hug you do with someone where your ears touch, but it's not much more of an embrace. So giving someone a bang on the ear is a nice thing. And I've chosen this few reasons. I remember really clearly a guy I used to sit next to in 5th year at school, which I think you guys call lower 6th. His name was Graham Morrison, and we used to collude on who was buying what albums to make sure we didn't buy the same things, and we would swap tapes, because I'm kind of showing my age again, but these were the days where you'd buy an album and you'd tape it for your mates and need to make sure you got the pause right when you had to flip the album over. And he gave me Fisherman's Blues in my 5th year at school. The great thing about this story is that the composer and lead singer of the Waterboys, whose name's currently just gone right out my head, went to my school. And it's a story of all the girls and women who have been in his life. And I really love the idea of, no matter what happened or how it went, kind of look back on all the people who've been in your life with affection, because even if you don't think you can think about them affectionately, they are part of what has made you who you are today. So I just really like the sentiment about that magnanimity. And the other amazing thing about the first bit of the song is about Lindsay, who was his first love at school, and he didn't have the guts to tell her. And I read recently that Lindsay didn't actually know she was in this song, and she only found out a couple of years ago. She didn't know she was in this song. She didn't know the Waterboys were really famous. She didn't know that she'd gone to school with them, and that she features as an unrequited love in one of, I think, a fantastic song. So yeah, it's a song that makes me smile.
Waterboys bang on the drum. So last song before the hour, Kirsten, tell us about this, Nelson Mandela.
So I had to pick a ska song. I'm a big fan of ska music, and I picked Free Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was released from prison in 1990, which was the year I went to university, and the first free elections that included black people in South Africa was in 1994, not just the year I graduated, but whilst I was studying for my finals in politics and economics. And I tried to persuade some of my lecturers that clearly world events were too distracting to study properly, but didn't get me anywhere. Just an extraordinary story in terms of Nelson Mandela and the sacrifices he made for democratic processes in South Africa. And I did go to South Africa around 20 years ago and went to Robben Island, and was lucky enough to, at that time, still be shown round by people who had been imprisoned with Nelson Mandela, and the horror of the piles of rocks that they basically spent their days moving from one side of the island to the other is just unbelievable. And for him to maintain the dignity and peace that he did after his release, he's clearly an inspiring individual, but it is an absolutely banging song as well.
It is. So here's, for the news, Nelson Mandela, Free Nelson Mandela, and we'll see you after the news. Welcome back. It's Sheffield Hospital Radio. It's Saturday morning, so it's my Saturday soundtrack. Yes, it's me, it's Michael. If you've not been here for the first hour, where have you been? But you can catch up. Don't forget, all my interviews are available on the Sheffield Hospital Radio Facebook page. Just go on there and look at their reels. You can hear from the volunteers that I had on last week, the Reverend Kate Botley a couple of weeks ago, but all our wonderful teams that are on there. And from Monday, you'll be able to listen and catch up on that first hour with me and Kirsten Major, who's our chief executive here at Sheffield Teaching Hospital, helping me celebrate, and we've been eating cake during the news there, helping me celebrate my 1 year anniversary on the show. And opening the second hour was Fleetwood Mac with The Chain, and Wayne, one of our patients, had requested that for himself. So a big shout out to you, Wayne. Hope you're listening. He stopped one of our wonderful volunteers as they were passing by, going around the wards collecting requests, and asked for that song. So thank you ever so much. And don't forget, as I always say, we are here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at Sheffield Hospital Radio. So do listen in if you're a first-time listener, because you heard Kirsten was coming on the show. You're very welcome, and that's brilliant. But tune in throughout the week. We've got over 12 hours of live shows, but we're always playing music, and you can request songs throughout the week. But I'm here with Kirsten. She's soundtracking her. Would it be life, Kirsten? Would it be fair to call it a soundtrack of your life?
I suppose, yeah. That makes it sound a bit grand, though.
That's okay. You are the chief exec. That's why you're here now. And so, where would you say, going into this next song, where would you say we are? Has it been a timeline? Well, I don't think it has been a timeline through your life as such, but you've curated it in a very particular order. So kind of, we're just over the halfway mark. Where would you say we are in your curation of songs?
So the last song and this next song are probably about the same times, which is around me being a student in Glasgow. I arrived there in 1990 from Edinburgh. Glasgow was the European City of Culture at that time, and it was fantastic. The place was buzzing. And at the same time, we had a kind of burgeoning house club scene, and I had an absolute ball as a student. So yeah, this song definitely speaks to that time.
And what year? So just what year was that? Did you say 1990? So as I was playing this playlist throughout the week, both of my kids who are late teens thought this was a banger, as my son called it, genuinely. And my daughter said this was pre-spoons, which I had no idea what it meant, but means she listens to it before she goes to a particular establishment opposite the Hallamshire. So it clearly is a song that still kind of resonates today. And there's something interesting about the song, and I was kind of asking both kids when they were that it is such a great song, but quite interesting lyrics within it. How do you think that kind of juxtaposition lands?
Yeah, and I think there is a bit of a theme in house music about doing some really quite serious content with stonking beats, and this is a really good example from, it was released in 1991, so interesting that it still resonates with your teenage kids. And I remember kind of dancing to it in nightclubs, and one of the things I love about it is the idea that we would kind of leave a nightclub at sort of 3 a.m, and that if our paths crossed with any homeless person in the centre of Glasgow at that time on our way home, kind of giddy at the evening we'd had, that we treated them with greater humanity and kindness because of this song, and so I think it's a good song for a good evening, but kind of makes you a human being as you go about your business.
And before we play that song, let's go into that a bit, because clearly Sheffield Teaching Hospital, the patients that we treat are from all backgrounds, including those patients who don't have a home, who are passing through the city. And how do you think, how are you hoping STH is geared up to support and provide that care to all the different range, and that similar and same care and compassion for each and every different patient?
Yeah. So I think so the kind of founding principle of the NHS sets us up well, doesn't it? Free at the point of need, regardless of your ability to pay, and that everybody's treated the same, and based only on their clinical priority or how long they've been waiting. So I think we are really lucky in the NHS that we've got like kind of that principle at the heart of our business. But then I absolutely see it in terms of the kindness and humanity that our staff show to people regardless of their background, and to be honest as well, some people do come with really complex stories, lots of trauma in their life, and often act that out in their interactions with us, and it's unbelievably humbling to watch our teams do. You can almost see them do the pause about, this isn't them, this isn't about me, they don't want to be doing this or behaving like this. I'm working really hard with patients to calm them down, to get them to engage with treatment. And all of that is as important as the treatment itself, and we've got to do both. But that said, also being really clear about when lines are crossed, and that you can't treat our staff badly or assault them or abuse them. But yeah, all life is here is kind of one of my routine phrases that you'll often hear me say, Michael, either in terms of the 20,000 people who work for Team STH or the people that we serve. But it is our core purpose.
Absolutely. Okay, so here's Crystal Waters and Gypsy Woman. Crystal Waters with Gypsy Woman there. Messaging Kirsten from Mahmood, our chair. And as I say, he is one of my biggest fans. I don't know if I can say that, Mahmood. Feel free to correct me, or regular listeners might be more professional and appropriate to say. But he says a huge congratulations for my first show. Thank you ever so much, Mahmood. And he's enjoying and says lovely to hear you on the radio today, Kirsten. But also a big shout out to the nominees and winners of the Specialised Cancer Services Awards last night. I saw that on social media. He attended and hosted. It was hosted by Weston Park Cancer Charity. So fantastic opportunity to congratulate and say thank you to all the staff in Weston Park Cancer Centre. So we're carrying on working through the soundtrack of that you've provided, and another great song. I'll say what this one is before we start to talk about it. This is the Fugees and Killing Me Softly, which again is another song that we'll look, or you probably know how old, 1996 this one, so gosh, 30 years old, but again clearly known by my kids, clearly still relevant today, so yeah, and clearly quite an emotional element to this song. So what do you think it is, and maybe was that a theme when you pick these songs about? There's music that you like, but then there's music that means something because of the message, or music that means something to you because of the time at which you heard it. Where does this song fit, and how do you kind of connect emotionally with songs like this?
Yeah, I picked this song just because I think it sums up perfectly the way that music can completely get under your skin, the way at times it feels like a singer is kind of just singing to you and knows exactly what's in your head or what has been going on, and I just think this song captures it brilliantly. It is a cover, and actually quite a few of the songs I've picked are covers, but I think are covers that are better on the original, and I think this is one of them. Lauryn Hill's voice is just amazing, and makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, and then really enjoy the kind of beat that Wyclef Jean and the Fugees and the rapping that he adds to it as well. So yeah, a banging tune, I think. And
do you have memories of 1996? So you'd be out of uni then. Would you be out of uni?
Yeah. In my first job, working in the Department of Women's Public Health in Glasgow, which was based in the maternity hospital, but was part of the health board, and kind of getting my head around what it was to be a health economist, but also a really inspirational boss about what is women's health, and how we should advocate for particularly deprived women in Glasgow who had some pretty terrible health experiences and life expectancy. So. And
did you think back then that 30 years on you might be the chief exec of one of the largest acute and community trusts in the country?
No, not a chance.
And if you went back to tell your 30 years younger self, how would you respond?
Nah, don't be daft.
Really?
I've never had a kind of career ambition or a career trajectory or a view that I need to do this job next because then I want to do that job after that. It has always been about happen chance, and I mean the reason I came to Sheffield is obviously it's an absolutely wonderful organisation, but the organisation I worked for, the Strategic Health Authority in the North West, was just abolished at the stroke of a pen by Andrew Lansley. So I really needed to get a job. This job came up, and loads and loads of luck's involved in those kind of sliding door moments, but blimey, I'm incredibly pleased that it was this role that came up, and I've been in Sheffield ever since. But yeah, I never intended to be a chief exec, but absolutely love it. Really, really enjoy my job.
And is it the kind of job, I imagine, what we're now, 1.8 billion? I mean, so that's what, 1,800 million pounds?
Yeah.
1.8, it's a lot, but it doesn't sound a lot, but 1,800 million pounds is a lot of money, 19,500 staff, 3 million or so patient contacts a year.
Yeah.
Would you describe the role as stressful?
So if I say no, that sounds kind of flippant and kind of underestimating the extent of it. It's a massive responsibility, and quite rightly the expectation of me and the exec team that you're part of, Michael, is that we need to spend that public money wisely. That I've always got in my head the extent to which really, really hard-working people, not actually earning a huge amount of money, go out to work every day and pay tax to give us their money to spend. And that's that responsibility, I think, is massive, and we always need to remember that and not take it for granted.
That's powerful. And so back to this song then. So Fuji's Killing Me Softly. That's right. I'm off track. Yeah, Fuji's Killing Me Softly, 1996. Let's do it. And yeah, absolutely. I think it is a fantastic song, and that beat, as you say, going back to that cover version, absolutely fantastic. Here we go. Everything But the Girl There with Missing. You join me. It's Michael. It's my Saturday soundtrack, and my 1 year anniversary. We're slowly working our way through the cake. I'm here with Kirsten, our chief executive, and we're working through the songs now. This next song, I want to hear all about why we've picked this song, because it is a very interesting song. If Kirsten wasn't the chief exec, I might not have put this song into the playlist, both because of the themes within the song, but the language as well. But the team have done a fantastic job of making this appropriate for listening, although you did say they did play it on Radio 4.
They did, yeah. A few weeks ago it was on Desert Island Discs.
So it is The Streets and Blinded by the Light. And again, when my kids were listening to it, Thomas in particular was very impressed by having Streets on there. And they must be at tram lines? No, or is it Why Not? Emily was saying
I don't think they're at tram lines.
Okay, maybe they're at Why. They were at tram lines. Was it last year or the year before?
I can't remember.
But she was saying she was seeing them shortly. But yeah, so, I mean, they are a fantastic band, The Streets, but a very particular style of music.
Yep. So, Blinded by the Lights is the song, and really nervous about getting you cancelled on your first anniversary, Michael. So, massive thanks to the team for removing some of the sweary bits, which I'm sure is incredibly complicated, so thank you for that to allow me to keep this song. So it's from the album A Grand Don't Come for Free, which came out in 2004. I was still living in Glasgow at that time. It's an absolutely brilliant album, and deals with loads of complex themes, but is brilliantly produced, and a kind of great set of songs. And when I moved to Manchester in 2008, this album was still an absolute regular on my iPod. So again, I'm showing my age. I have moved on from the Walkman of David Bowie when I was in my teenage years onto an iPod, but this is clearly pre your phone playing your music. And I went to work for the Strategic Health Authority in Manchester, and used to go to meetings at the Department of Health quite regularly, and have a really, really clear memory of walking up Whitehall past the War Memorial, the kind of one that the cenotaph that you see every year on Remembrance Sunday, and then also the really amazing War Memorial to Women that is just next to that I don't think I'd ever seen. I've never seen other than when you actually walk past it. But yeah, I've got a really clear memory of walking down a kind of sunny Whitehall to go to a meeting at the Department of Health. And the thing I really like about this song is it just perfectly captures so much of the stuff about clubbing, whether it's the annoying bouncers, kind of that jostling to try and get served at the bar, and kind of waving to try and catch attention, trying to find your friends, the kind of pain in the neck of trying to get a phone signal and going back and forward from dance floor to front door, queuing for the loos. And I'm really pleased that in this song Mike Skinner acknowledges what a pain it is to be a woman and face the queues for toilets and nightclubs, and clearly being blinded by the lights. So yeah, it kind of brings back fond memories of clubbing, but it's also a song where I think, do you know what, I'm just too old for all of that hassle now. I'm quite glad I don't have to put up with it. So yeah, it's a great song, and really appreciate the work to allow me to play it.
And it does, I mean, I kind of think when you hear it, it's quite a stressful song to listen to, I found, with my kind of thing. And clearly there's an element of drug taking in it, let's be honest. And so that's absolutely captured in the song. But yeah, similar to you, that kind of, do you think there is something about when you're younger, you're going out, you want to be awake all night, you want to do that, you're happy to stand, you're happy to be covered in beer, all that kind of thing. But it's, I don't know, what's your view looking back? Do you view that with nostalgia, chaos, you'd love to go back but don't?
I look back at it all really, really affectionately, but gosh, I'm really, well, I wouldn't want to do it again, and blimey, am I really glad, you know, the idea that kind of kids now, I'm really sounding like an old fart now, but that kids now have to have tactics around spiking of drinks and all of that just was never ever, wouldn't even have crossed my mind. So I wouldn't want to do it again, even if it was exactly the same as it is now. I'm just too old for it. And, you know, laughing at the prospect of, you know, 20, 30 years ago, Scotland's playing at 2 o'clock. Well, we'll just pull an all-nighter, won't we? But no. Well, maybe if I have my tea at 7 o'clock and then go to my bed at 9:30 and then I'll get up again. So, yeah, life just changes.
My kids educated me that bit about, for me, and I don't know, in my area, you went for drinks first in a bar, and then you went to a club about midnight-ish, and you came out about 2-ish.
Yeah.
You seem to don't go out until about 12, 1-ish and stay in the club till 5, 6-ish kind of thing. Okay. So there's clearly a definite, or when my kids and their friends...
That's what they tell you anyway.
That's what they tell me, as I was getting up this morning and my son hadn't gone to sleep yet. But clearly that it is different. And kind of go back to kind of some of the serious nature within this song around the kind of drug and alcohol, and clearly kind of some of those social issues that impact on health. What's our role as a acute and community trust in supporting patients who and people who find themselves in those situations and require health care?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think first and foremost is to kind of not pass judgment on individuals, and we don't understand how or why they've got to the place that they are, that lots of drug and alcohol use when it's problematic is a kind of form of self-medicating, and there is something else going on. So I think kind of holding your judgment and then trying to make the right choice the easiest choice. So there is no point hectoring people. They know why things are are not good for them, and why they might be able to do things differently, but engaging with what could we do differently that might make the healthier choice the easier choice. And that's that whole thing about, the reverse of it is, why do they put sweets beside tills? Because the really easy choice is to make the bad choice, because the kids scream at the queue and you're desperate to get through and for them to be quiet. It works. So the flip side is making the better choice, the easier choice to make. And it's like that thing about not having biscuits in meetings. So I'll kind of happily go all day without eating a biscuit. I mean, look at us with this cake that I brought. Obviously we've eaten it. If it wasn't just sitting there, neither of us would have been desperate to have a slice of cake. But because it's in front of you, you eat it. And kind of engaging with that level of behavioural stuff is really important in terms of health messages. Otherwise we just become kind of lecturing do-gooders.
And do you think our integration as acute and community gives us, because that's unusual for trusts our size around the country, what opportunity does that give us to absolutely start engaging and supporting patients in that area?
Yeah, I mean, there's some really, really specific teams who have this at their heart. I'm thinking of our Hep C team who completely embrace that, yes, their primary purpose is absolutely to treat the Hep C infection, which is often associated with IV drug users. But they know that if they don't engage with the things that are really important to those individuals, they won't engage with complying with the treatment to get rid of their virus. And you speak to them in terms of the work they do in community and the work they do to support their patients. If the thing that's really bothering that individual is they have a painful foot, then they will engage with that and get them access to primary care so that they can clear all of that stuff away, so we can talk about being Hep C positive. Our sexual health service is another really good example. All of the work our community teams do in people's homes, where yes, they're arriving to deal with a particular issue, but they deal with the whole person. I was speaking to a GP last week who said, and I quite liked this and I've not heard this before, about what secondary care does is treat the disease in the individual. What primary care does is treat the disease in the context of the whole individual, and that the advantages of being in a community setting and being able to think about the whole person and all of the elements of their health is a fantastic opportunity for us to work differently and prevent poor health in the future.
Brilliant. Well, let's go back 30-ish years then. I'm clearly asking all the right questions, hopefully in all the wrong orders, but it is a fantastic song. It's The Streets Blinded by the Light. I think we got through it unscathed.
Well done.
Thank you, Paul. Brilliant. Okay, well, there's only 2 songs left. I can't believe it. We're coming up on the midday, and so this next song is an absolute classic. And clearly you touched on earlier about moving to Sheffield. What year did you come to Sheffield?
2011.
2011. And so this is Pulp and Common People. And so what do you think this song says about Sheffield?
So this definitely is from my adopted home. I think it says about Sheffield that the idea that posh or privileged people kind of trying to slum it and kind of pretend that they've had a harder upbringing or tougher time than they've had is not to be tolerated. And I think the whole the absolute kind of scathing sarcasm of Jarvis Cocker's voice in this song is just brilliant, and I think kind of sums up a bit of a city attitude about there'll be no I don't know, for want of a better phrase, we won't tolerate fur coats and no knickers round here. And I think he lands the tone of this song as well as the content in terms of his sarcasm, but then his growing anger at how outrageous it is to think you can possibly pretend that you've had that lack of control, faced kind of really challenging circumstances. I think think there's several references to cockroaches crawling up the wall in this song, which make my skin crawl a bit. But yeah, it's a great song, and a song I liked long before Sheffield was a glimmer in my eye, but it's, I think, a fantastic anthem for the city in terms of its attitude to people and folk putting on airs and graces, be that pretending to slum it or being something they're not.
Brill, well, let's play it. Everyone knows the song, and while we're playing it, I'm going to play it for Ruth, who's asked me to play a song for her husband Mark, who's recovering from an eye injury and had a fantastic care at the emergency eye centre at the Hallamshire yesterday. So thanks, Ruth and Mark. And yeah, here's Pulp and Common People. Well, I can't believe it. That's my anniversary. I'm losing my voice. Anniversary show through Kirsten, you've been a fantastic guest. Thank you. I want to give you the time to introduce your last song. So thank you, listeners. See you same time next week. Thank you to all the staff that are working today. If you're a patient, look after yourself. But tell us all about this last song, Kirsten.
Thanks very much, Michael, and thanks for having me. It's been a ball. So this final song is a sad one. It's Johnny Cash, Hurt, and is kind of the opposite of Je ne regrette rien. It is I regret everything and I wish I'd done better. And if you've not watched it, I would really recommend watching the video to this song. It is just kind of stops you in your tracks. We knew he was dying at the time he made the video. His wife had unexpectedly just died a few months before that, and boy, can you feel it in the way he plays his guitar and the piano and sings this song. I've been to Nashville and been to the House of Cash and have a photograph that is a still from that video that is on my pinboard in my kitchen, and it's a kind of warning every morning as I leave to not screw things up and get stuff right. So yeah, Johnny Cash and Hurt.
Thanks, Kirsten, and thanks everything you do for Sheffield Teaching Hospitals.